Are you thinking about moving to Wenatchee, but just not quite sure if you can handle those Washington winters? Well, I have you covered. In this video, we are going to talk about everything you need to know about living in Wenatchee in the wintertime. We'll cover things from the climate to the different activities to how the weather impacts your home. So let's get started. Let's start with the climate. And although the Wenatchee area is mostly known for its warm climate and sunshine, the winters are quite different. The Wenatchee winters are crisp, chilly, and have a touch of gray to them. Central Washington is very dry compared to the west side of the mountains, and we don't get a lot of rain, but we do get a little bit more snow than the Seattle area. The average amount of snowfall in the Wenatchee area is about 16 inches. This year, we don't have very much at all. In fact, I'm filming this in the middle of January, and there is no snow in downtown Wenatchee. Although last year was a very different story, and there was more than a foot of snow on the ground. If you're moving here to be in a ski town, don't worry because the ski area is actually 3,500 feet above the elevation of Wenatchee, and they also make snow. The Cascade Mountains separates the west side of the state from the eastern side of the state, and this is what creates the different climate. Because of this, we get a lot less rain, and that also blocks out the warm coastal airs that the Seattle area gets, and that's what makes the east side of the Cascade Mountains so much colder. The average temperature kind of hovers around 35 degrees Fahrenheit in the December areas, and the average low drops into about 27 degrees. It is very common to see nighttime temperatures drop into the teens and single digits in the area. Fortunately for us, these cold temperatures don't last too long. We start to get chilly kind of in the beginning of November and then start quickly warming up in March. Something people do not really expect in the winter here in the Wenatchee area is how gray it is. We get a layer of clouds that settles into the valley and can stay for weeks at a time. Luckily, if you do want to see the sun, typically if you go up into the mountains, say to Mission Ridge, you can get above that cloud layer and get a little bit of sunshine. But what you should know is these long, gray, dark days can really affect some people. Because winters can feel dark, I highly recommend that people find some sort of hobby to keep them occupied during the winter months. Luckily, the Wenatchee area has a ton to do. For my outdoor enthusiasts out there, there are two different ski areas. We have Mission Ridge, which is about 30 minutes from downtown, and Stevens Pass, which is an hour away. If you're not into downhill skiing, there is a ton of cross-country ski trails that are groomed all over the area. A couple of my favorites would be Echo Ridge, which is up in Chelan, and out by Lake Wenatchee, they've got a really great system. There are also some cross-country ski trails that are a little bit closer to town at the Squilchuck State Park. These trails are for cross-country skiers, and we have kind of a large fat tire bike community that uses those trails as well. If you are into motorsports, there are several different trails and systems to take snowmobiles out onto. You just need to make sure that whether you are snowmobiling or cross-country skiing, that you are looking up the park that you are going to because it is going to require a different pass. Your National Forest Service pass or your Discovery Pass will not work when there's snow on the trails. Each one of these trail systems is maintained by a different organization, and so the passes that you need are going to be different. Make sure you're looking them up before you go. Hockey is also really big in the community during the winter months. The Wenatchee Wild is part of the Western Hockey League, and they're a blast to go and watch. The ice rink also offers public ice skating, which can be a great thing to take kids to do. Wenatchee offers several types of gyms, such as just traditional gyms. We have the rack, which is really great for racquetball, tennis, and pickleball. There is multiple CrossFit gyms. We have cycle studios and yoga studios. We even have a rock gym, which is a lot of fun to go and experience. Wintertime can also be a great time to learn something new or explore a new hobby. And the community college here in town offers public classes where you can go in and you can learn different languages, brush up on your painting skills, learn how to throw pottery. It's really kind of nice that you can go in and take a class that lasts a few weeks and not have to worry about the credits of tuition. If you're looking for just a one-time family fun night, there's plenty to do. We've got a couple of different movie theaters. There is a bowling alley and arcade. We have an indoor tap and putt course. There's virtual golf. You can go and paint a sculpture or see a show at the Performing Arts Center. There's really something for everyone in the Wenatchee area. Okay, if you are moving here and you're purchasing a house, there are some things that you need to know. And of course, because I'm a real estate agent, I'm going to tell you what those are. In the Wenatchee area, in the downtown area proper, we don't really have to worry about snow load. If you're not familiar what snow load is, that is the amount of weight and pressure that heavy snow can put onto a home. In around Wenatchee, we don't have to worry about it. But if you're looking for a home up by Mission Ridge or anything at higher elevation, this is something you want to be aware of. Now, if the home has already been built, this has probably already been through the permitting process and the home is probably just fine. But something that you should have a little bit of an understanding about is roof angles and pitches. And the reason that I say this is because a home that does not have a nice flowing roof in these higher elevation areas can get pinch points where snow builds up and creates ice dams. Ice dams do not allow water to flow properly off of your roof and can seep through your roofing. A lot of these homes don't have these issues, but it's something to be aware of when looking at homes in higher elevations. Down here in the Wenatchee area, we thaw out a lot more often, and snow dams, ice dams, aren't as big as a concern. One thing that you should know about the climate in the Wenatchee area is we go through extreme temperature swings. In the summer months, we are above triple digits, and in the winter months, we can be below freezing. And all homes naturally expand and contract in temperatures, and the homes in central Washington go through a lot of this. So, when you're walking through a home, you might see hairline cracks in the sheetrock, and that is the sheetrock tape going through that expansion and contraction. You might notice that doors or windows seem a little bit tight or they're sticking and not flowing properly. This is kind of common with those temperature changes. And this is why it's so important for people to get home inspections when they purchase homes in this area. Seeing a home with cracks in the walls or tight fitting doors can also be signs of a home having some structural issues. So, this is why it's really important to get a home inspection in the Wenatchee area. These things could be minor issues such as the home expanding and contraction, or it could be some serious issues with the home. Some other things that you want to look out for when purchasing a home is the insulation. And although electricity is very cheap, making sure that your plumbing is properly insulated is very important. And this will help keep your pipes from freezing and breaking. Last year, we went through an extreme cycle of 10 days below freezing temperatures. This is not normal for the area, and a lot of people were not prepared for it. People were having pipes break all over the area, and it was because their pipes weren't properly insulated. We were seeing this happening, everything from new homes to older homes, and it's just really something you should be aware of. The other issue that people were having was they were having problems keeping their home warm enough, and it is very important in the area to make sure that your heat source is being serviced every year. Heat sources, whether it's heating or cooling, go through a lot of demand because of the extreme weathers that we have. Speaking of freezing pipes, if your home is on irrigation, which most of the homes in the area are, you're going to want to make sure that those are blown out and winterized every year. Irrigation pipes are not buried below the frost line and they will freeze. You can pay somebody to do this or you can do it yourself. The important part is just to remember to get it done. Most of the home sales in this area happen during the spring and summer months. So, a quick tip if you're looking for the best deal of a home, shopping in the winter when there's less buyer activity is a good idea. Okay, back to summers. Buying a home in the summer, you really want to make sure that you're keeping winter in mind. Here is what I mean. You want to look at the driveway. If it was covered in ice, how comfortable would you feel? How long is it? If we got a big dump of snow, would you be comfortable clearing it? What type of road is it on? Who will be plowing that? Will it be the county, the city, your HOA, or is it going to be your responsibility? Is the home located on a hill? And how comfortable will you be driving down that hill if it was covered in ice? These are all things that you want to keep in mind when you're purchasing your home in the summer months in Wenatchee. And speaking of icy roads, it's always a great idea to have traction tires. You're going to want some sort of traction tires in the Wenatchee area. I personally drive an all-wheel drive vehicle with very high-end all-season tires, and there are definitely times when I'm driving on hills and wondering if I should be. If you are thinking about buying a home in Central Washington, please reach out. I would love to be your realtor. Thank you for joining, and I will see you next week.